Hey guys, welcome to the Supergirl After Show here on the Stream.tv. I'm Jenna Bush from Legion of Leia.
I'm Silas Lesnick with ComingSoon.net.
And I'm Sabina Ibarra from Legion of Leia and one of your hosts for the Gotham After Show.
Okay, so what did you guys think of the episode?
I had fun. I don't know if I had as much fun as last week's episode. It is nice to see Livewire around as a villain that is fun to see again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, because I think Livewire was, well, we'll get to the whole Livewire thing, but I think it's interesting to see she's probably going to be back quite a bit. I like her. Yeah. I like Livewire. She's cool.
I thought this was really interesting, though, in this episode, because you have Livewire's back, and then she's like, I have a vendetta against Supergirl. But then both she and Supergirl get kind of undermined by all the guys, and, you know, we had the Guardian come in to try to, like, defend the humans that were being affected in one of the little, like, fights they had, which was interesting.
Boys always mess stuff up. No offense, Silas. You never mess anything up.
Yeah.
It is weird when the episode begins because Supergirl's so intent on saying like, "Oh, Mon-el's ready. He's gonna." But it's like, well, the first thing he does is blow up a cardboard like someone's head.
Yes.
It's like, maybe he's not ready. Maybe like if you're accidentally killing civilians, you shouldn't be going out.
I feel like that is a true statement. Maybe we don't kill the civilians. Yeah, it is sort of interesting her feelings with Manel, because she's. Well, we'll get to Manel in a minute. Let's start with Guardian and Win and the suit and all the mess that's.
He totally was motivated by Mon-el messing up. You know, it was like, I'm gonna get in on this action and take care of business and help Kara out, and she kind of doesn't take it too well.
Yeah, so I think she's probably more upset that they've been lying to her than anything else, because that's kind of a. Well, we don't lie to Supergirl. But also she really wants to protect them, and I think this sort of brought up the idea of what is a hero. And, you know, that's always a thing with superheroes, like, you don't kill, you don't use certain weapons, you don't have your friends lie to you.
Well, it's an interesting question, because Supergirl, to be Supergirl, does lie to the world. Mm-hmm. She exists as a human being, and it's interesting to see it turned on her. I kind of feel like I wish there was a longer period of time without people knowing Supergirl's identity, just so the balance was a bit more. Because we haven't seen her go out of her way to lie to people, and yet it is something that is required.
Yeah, and she does it quite a bit. So, you know, the whole thing where she didn't tell them that she was Supergirl for quite a while, that sort of makes it hard to take when she's like, oh, you can't lie to me. But I also think it's because she wants to keep them safe. And there is sort of this feeling when you have some sort of power that other people don't have, that you don't think anyone else is quite as capable as you are. And they clearly are. I mean, except for the getting shot through the suit. There's that.
Yeah.
I do kind of feel like given the nature of just like character growth and whatnot, I at some point I would like to see Supergirl's identity undone amongst the people she really cares about, and have to decide again, like, am I protecting these people? Because right now she has a great foundation of friends and family, and it would kind of be cool to see that pulled back and see if she'd make the same decisions again.
But she's still so aware of how much it puts her loved ones in danger that I kind of can't blame her for being like, no, you can't do this. You don't have superpowers. Something happens. Like, you don't get another chance to, like, heal. You're out. And she kind of can't, you know, face that in a way.
Yeah, there was a good quote, and I'm trying to find it on my very analog notes here, about Jimmy being just a handsome guy behind a desk. Which
it was Manel thinks that doesn't know that anything about him, just thought he was a handsome business person.
Yeah, I wrote it down, but all I'm seeing is I hate having a nemesis, so we're just going to ignore my notes.
Going back to the I hate having a nemesis, I thought it was really funny how she was like, oh, you know, she's like a pen pal, and except if your pen pal was really deadly and stuff. And I thought it was funny how Livewire wanted to fry Supergirl from the inside out, and I was like, that's like a Mortal Kombat fatality. Just
it kind of is, actually.
Like the visualization of that.
I play far too much Mortal Kombat. That's going to be in my head from now on. But yeah, and Manel is kind of. Things are getting a little messy, and so with Supergirl sort of being upset that he's not ready, but then saying, "Oh, you are ready," even though you killed the cardboard little girl. I can't quite figure out what her feelings for him are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard to place.
Because she doesn't want the smooch at the end, but she wants to believe in him so badly that she's not seeing any of his flaws.
I think those are sort of related. I think it's like, if I can make him into something that I want, then I will want that, but until then, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean...
Never a good idea?
Well, at the same time, Mon-el could use some, like, learning and figuring out how the world works. So I do see both sides of it.
Yeah, that's true. He'd be a better bartender right now, I think.
Yeah.
He wasn't a very good bartender. He didn't show up for his second day at work.
That's true. That's true. But, no one really does any work. Supergirl. No one...
One of the things that is troublesome, I find, with the show is that there's so much balance between Supergirl. She's like, I need some people that are strong to help me sometimes, but if that's not the plot, I never feel that. I never feel like Supergirl is being overwhelmed by crime in the city.
Yeah, that's true. And, I mean, it'd sort of be fun to see them as the Super Friends. I did it last week. I have to do it again. The pop culture references. One of them was Super Friends. One of them was talking about Shark Tank, Nasty Woman, which I thought was kind of super, All American Barbie, and this one we had a kind of a weird thing with our stream of the show today. So I didn't hear it, but like an evil Taylor Swift squad. That's Livewire and Supergirl working together.
It was sort of nice to. I kind of wish they went even further with it, but just to get Livewire into the blue outfit is a bit closer to her classic comic look. Yeah. And I almost wish that the guy who kidnapped her, there was just some explanation of like, oh yeah, he gave her this conductive suit. It just is the costume.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
That would totally be nice.
But he was more interested in being Livewire, though, to be honest. Yeah. He was like, no, I'm going to be Livewire. I'm going to take this woman's powers and be it. Kind of in the way that the guys were trying to out Supergirl.
By the way, did we ever hear that guy's name? That character's name?
I'm sure we did. I don't recall it.
I didn't hear it, because I was trying to figure that out through the whole thing. So Livewire and...
I kind of wanted to refer to him as No Fry the Science Guy.
That's really good. I like that. No Fry the Science Guy. But we could talk about her. I mean, this guy's trying to make super soldiers out of Livewire, and Livewire looks like she'll be a really cool villain to have around all the time, but now she has a nemesis. And I'm curious, is this going to be her main nemesis? Is this sort of like a Lex Luthor Superman thing, or?
I mean, the one trouble I don't want. I thought they did a great job with Livewire in making her scary, and like she actually wants to kill Supergirl with electricity powers. Yeah. That's pretty evil. I do find that the CW shows have a tendency of they do their villains really well, and then everybody likes the villains so much they stop being villains.
Yeah.
And there was a thread of that by the end of this episode. I hope when Livewire comes back again, she's fully angry and ready to attack.
And wanting to cook Supergirl from the inside out. Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, obviously, everyone who's heard me do any show knows I like villains more than heroes because I'm twisted in some way. I don't know. But I do like her, but I think that like weird little truce that they had, I mean, that could end up making her sort of join the team. And, I don't know.
I hope not. I liked her like Rosanna Arquette realness from like Pulp Fiction that she was like doling out. I was like, yeah, like you just start shouting and deciding to kill Supergirl because I think that she's very unstable. So while they had that truce at the end, she can very much like come back and be like, no, I'm crazy and I'm going to kill you.
And I think the door's also opened for the evolution of her powers because we already see things being done to her that maybe she didn't know she could do before. And who knows if she'll come back even more powerful than the last time we saw her.
She can make people extra zappy. I kind of like that. But no, I like her a lot as a villain. And it's sort of, that sort of brings us to Magan and Jean. And how Magan is not really a villain. I mean, not that we didn't know that already, but... Oh, hey, one thing before we leave the Manel thing, there was something that made me think of him as, like, well, it's sort of a clue to a prince. Clue about him being a prince. And I'm trying to remember what it was. It was something where he couldn't listen to her. Because she's like, why won't you just listen to me? And he was like, I can't. And maybe that's because he was royalty.
Or was in a position of power and couldn't hear the problems of so many people that, like, it's just something... Because he certainly has that attitude of, I am sort of here for myself. And
yeah.
In fact, I think him sort of admitting some feelings for Kara was maybe the most we've seen out of him in that sense of actually caring for somebody other than himself.
Yeah, I like the high five after the good talk. That's. Oh, by the way, guys, if you do have any questions, just make sure you tweet us with the hashtag SupergirlAS for after show. But feel free to send those over. But yeah, and I liked him a little bit more this week than I have before.
I think he's starting to get it that he has this responsibility now, being on Earth to others and to help others, and he's kind of just still, just in it for himself and in it for Supergirl, and it's not working out for him.
So basically, he wants to get laid, and so therefore he will help humanity.
Apparently.
That's how I broke it down. No, I'm totally kidding. Maybe I'm only a little bit kidding, but.
But there's that element in there, I think, with Jimmy and with Mon-el, where they kind of like are into her, but then they're still, figuring out and coming to terms with, hey, like this is much bigger than just our personal relationships and us. And then obviously Jimmy has his past where he's like, no, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to put myself out there. And Supergirl's like, no.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this last week about what makes a hero, and having no powers and the desire to go out and help people is kind of awesome. We could use a little bit of that right now.
Yes.
More people that want to do that, go be Guardian.
Well, it's something that Martian Manhunter goes through in this episode is like not so much dealing with a specific conflict as the painful memories of a conflict, and that in itself being an obstacle to overcome.
Yeah, that was that part of the episode really stood out, the Magan and Jean thing, where he's like, look, I'm going to be going through this. I'm going to be reliving stuff. Basically, I'm going to go through some PTSD. Stay with me. And I thought that was really sweet, and that she was having PTSD as well, and that's what was really driving her going into this sort of destroying herself from within. And, that's obviously something you see a lot with people in combat, PTSD and what it does to you. And it's, I think, a good thing to bring that up.
And I like that it gives Supergirl a reason for being there, and they're both characters that have lost their entire planets. So she maybe hasn't seen the hardened conflict and hatred that he did in this war, but they still lost the same thing.
Yeah, and now they're coming after her. So,
which is the tease of next week's episode, which is called the Martian Chronicles, and again, after last week, just getting off to a completely different world, I like bringing in the intergalactic side of Supergirl. It was cool to see Mars, and it sounds like next week we'll have a lot more Mars.
More Mars.
Yes.
Lots more Mars. Yeah, and I remember when Magan was freaking out, she was saying, and I wrote this down: blood, death, and beautiful war. Which I thought was kind of odd. Because if she was somebody who was not, she didn't want to be part of the war, she didn't want to kill children, she didn't want to do terrible things, why would she be saying that, and what was causing it? I don't know, I'm just asking. I have no idea.
And it may just
could have been that combination of like the psychic attack and her being trapped within her own guilt, where like she's in the guilt space, but then also whoever's orchestrating the attack could be trying to like push her back to their side, or just messing with her, and that was not fun looking.
Yeah, and it would be interesting to see if there were other Martians that end up, other white Martians who feel the same, or if it was just her, because that would sort of indicate that an entire race feels one way, and that she's the only one that broke out of it. So I'd kind of like to see more of that.
I feel like, hopefully it is the case that because the story of any specific race being horribly evil is a terrible message.
Bad message.
And it is one of those things where, like, I suspect as we learn more about the Martian culture, we'll see that like neither side thought they were doing anything wrong.
Right.
There's nothing at all relevant about that, is there? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Yeah. But I really liked that story. I thought that was really cool, and I'm glad they're going to be using her a lot more, or at least it looks like they're going to be using her a lot more, because I really like them. But and now Guardian and Wynn are sort of they're official now, you guys. They're official.
I guess are they official? They sort of hinted like we'd be happy to have you as a team.
You guys want to work with us? Yeah, and I kind of like that because then they are the super friends.
You can the trouble with the Guardian costume is I miss the blue and gold Guardian costume, and maybe if he goes to work with them, he can just get a new uniform that looks like the classic Guardian.
Well, Wynn did say don't mess up the suit, and the suit got messed up, so you had one job. Well, no, you had more than one job. But the suit is messed up. There is a bullet hole in it, so maybe they have to give him a new suit. I mean, I like it, but I would like the other one more. I think that'd be pretty cool. I'm curious, what other, because you know what, sometimes with superhero shows, you have everybody ending up as a superhero. Who do you not want to see as a superhero?
Probably Maggie. Like, there's a nice like humanity there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want Wynn to wind up a superhero.
Yeah,
I think that's sort of part of what defines him is like not fitting there. I would like fewer people to be superheroes.
Yeah.
Like,
Although I'm not opposed to people having connections to superheroes. Maggie, can still be Batwoman's ex-girlfriend, and we can actually, if we got to see Batwoman in the show, that would be so cool. And we'd bring in another female character who is very similar to Kara and could like potentially add on to the Super Friends.
No, I like that idea a lot, and it would be super cool to see Batwoman. The only trouble I have is like, is it a bad thing to make like another prominent gay character in the universe that closely related? As far as like oh well, every gay person is just one person removed.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to sort of introduce her as someone they've heard of, and if she ended up there, that could. Not that I'm looking for love triangle because
definitely
Alex and
not
Maggie
like
forever.
a love triangle. No.
No, Alex and Maggie forever.
Yeah.
They're gonna have vegan ice cream together.
Guys.
That's actually interesting. I didn't realize she was vegan. Just Plus, vegan ice cream is actually really good.
It is shockingly good.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
And I'm not vegan. I just really like it.
It's yeah. I used to have it in Boston all the time.
Yeah?
It was a place that made it was basically frozen tofu, and it doesn't sound good, but.
Well, we're both vegetarians, so it sounds good to us. It totally does. There's totally nothing to do with Supergirl, except that Maggie's obviously vegan. That's fine. I'm fine now. All better. So, and I did like the nasty woman reference in there. I just wanted to say something about that because this show.
They threw that line at us, and it was like, oh, they went there.
Yeah.
They totally went there. It was so great.
No, I'm glad they did because this show, since season 1, has had a history of talking about feminism in a very interesting way, but often very straightforward way. And I kind of liked that reference. I like that they don't pull away from that. Who knows what'll happen going forward? It
does make you sort of wonder, though, like, is the world of Supergirl the same as our world?
No, because they have a female president.
But if they know the term nasty woman, how did it come about?
Oh, it's this stupid guy saying something.
A guy who wants to overly compensate for his lack of powers. Who wants to call the powerful woman a nasty woman?
I don't know what you could be talking about. Yeah. So what else are you looking forward to this season? Because there was a thing about a Maggie Alex centric episode for Valentine's Day.
Yes.
I'd like to see the sort of rogues gallery fill up because it was really great seeing Livewire come back. I'd like more villains that have their unique thing, and I kind of want to be able to look forward to an episode of like, oh my God, the parasite's going to attack this episode. I think we talked last week about Mr. Mxyzptlk is coming, which I'm super excited for.
I'm just going to let you say that name every time it comes up because I can't.
Mxyzptlk.
That's never going to happen.
Mxyzptlk.
It's never going to happen. It's all you. I'm just going to point to you and you're going to say it. And that'll be fine. Yeah, I'd actually like to see a bigger rogues gallery too, just because we have a lot of superheroes now. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of people working on that side. I want to see more on this side. I want to see, because if it looks like it's too easy for her every week to get rid of everybody and fix everything, then, after a while that's going to get boring. I want to see them team up. I want to see them all go after her.
I'd also like to see like some moral dilemmas that come about with science fiction, like a giant space cow that shows up and is going to eat the planet, and it's not an evil thing. You can't kill it, but what do you do because it is hungry and wants to eat the planet?
I'm sorry, that's the best thing I've ever heard. A giant space cow that wants to eat the planet.
Well, I don't know. I like when Superman has to deal with specifically with problems like that. Like
well, no, I mean, and that's something that Star Trek does a lot, where it really is a strong moral dilemma, and she obviously won't destroy Livewire, lets her go because she sort of made a deal with her and all of, so it's an interesting moral dilemma for her, what she's willing to do and what she's not willing to do. And if she has to do something that's outside of her morals, what will happen to her character?
Yeah.
And then there's a question of like, well, what is Livewire doing? If Livewire kills one person because Supergirl let her go away, that doesn't seem like it's going to be the greatest.
Yeah, well, that's something that comes up with superheroes a lot, where you have ones who say, well, I'm not going to use guns, I will not kill. Like Wonder Woman, for the most part, except for the one time, she doesn't, and that's a character that we've seen in Supergirl, by the way. Just look it up. But when she does, everyone turns on her. So so it's always a question like, well, if you did kill off this villain, what would happen? Would you save people by doing that, or are you condemning people? I don't know. It's always an issue with superheroes.
It's one of those things that Batman's a good example, because you can have the super violent Batman, you can have the very friendly Batman.
And child Batman.
I don't mind either way, but I cannot stand the Batman Begins like, I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you, because it's like Batman putting he's like, well, I have my fingers behind my back.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want you to find loopholes in your morality.
Yeah.
Either
Because
you.
then it muddles the stakes a bunch. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. And I think so far what we've seen with Supergirl is her being across the board completely moral, believes the best of people, always has good intentions. So I will actually be interested to see if they do knock her off that a little bit. I would think that it's...
Knock her around,
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, like you said, there's too much of her just coming in and just saving the day, and there aren't that many sort of challenges. And like we've seen, there's the Super Friends are together. It makes you wonder if they're going to go to darker places with that, and what if some of the things she's worried about actually comes to pass and someone does get hurt or dies.
Yeah, if someone... Don't kill off Alex. Just don't kill off Alex. But I really do... I think that would be the thing to push her over the edge, though, if one of her friends dies. I don't want you to kill anyone. Just putting that out there. But that would be something that I think would motivate her. And then, and we've seen that with a ton of other superheroes before, where they've lost somebody personal, and I don't know. What do you think would push her over the edge?
I think that Supergirl has a high enough moral standard that there's a lot that could miss. I don't know if anything's going to push her over the edge but send her on a very serious guilt trip. I think a lot will do that.
Yeah.
I think more than should, probably, and that's probably her something she'll have to deal with just as a person. Is you can't keep blaming yourself when things go bad.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they're probably not going to kill off Jimmy Olsen, although they did in the cinematic universe.
So wrong.
But Supergirl needs to accept that this is a choice he's making, and if he wants to be Guardian, he can be Guardian. But if he gets hurt, she can't torture herself for that.
Yeah, it's almost a parental sort of thing. Like we were saying before about how if you can't let your children leave and fly the coop and do what they're supposed to do, but that's part of being an adult and making adult decisions, is that you choose whether or not you're going to put yourself in danger. And I want him to be Guardian, and they better not kill him off. I have a lot of opinions about who should live and die today. I'm not sure why that is. Again, if you do have any questions, make sure you tweet us with the hashtag SupergirlAS for After Show. You can tweet it to the Stream TV on Twitter. And just there's no dot there.
Oh, speaking of pop culture references and another Star Trek reference from last week,
Yay.
I was kind of excited that the term mind meld is just that's what Martian Manhunter does.
Oh, I totally missed that. Oh, that's kind of awesome. Yeah, it's what's sort of interesting about that. I was thinking about this when they were doing the mind meld, that he hasn't done that with Kara or with Alex, and he considers them to be like his daughters. And he did say something interesting today where he talked about hate. Like, what do I do if I don't hate? Because when you've gone through something terrible, hate keeps you going. It can fuel you, but there's only so long that can go on before you burn out. And do you think that's completely gone yet, or is it going to resurface next week with all the White Martians?
I think there's no way it doesn't resurface. It seems to be what cost him everything, and even if he can forgive her and understand that it's not the entire species that is doing wrong, it's still something that is there.
Yeah, because he, I don't think, has quite as much compulsion not to kill. So that actually could be a way to bring it in if there's, he's an example where he's he's going after these people who are attacking, and would he kill them, or would he, now that he's becoming one? Because they didn't talk about that this week, but he's becoming a white Martian, so what happens then?
It does seem like one of those things they should bring up as far as just like, if you're doing this, like, full disclosure, I'm going through a weird process where my genetics are changing.
Yeah, yeah, there's that. Hey guys, I'm gonna be one of you really soon. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I even wonder like what difference that really makes.
It is one of those things that becomes tricky from a plot perspective, because if we as the audience already understand that all white Martians aren't evil,
right,
then so what if he becomes a white Martian?
Yeah.
It seems pretty much like the exact same thing. It's just when he isn't in his human form, he is a different color.
And also, if he's a shapeshifter, he could still be green if he feels like it. He could just be, we could look however he wants. He could be an adorable puppy. It's so, but that's, I was thinking about that last week as well. Like if he can be anyone, it doesn't matter. And now that he's sort of lost this feeling of like all white Martians are evil, then yeah, why would it matter?
Well, I mean, it could matter as far as like maybe there's weird like white Martian things we don't know about. Maybe they have like something every year they have to go into a warrior mode and do a quest or something. I don't know, but seeing him like stumble through that would be interesting.
Yeah, that's true. That actually would. The weird Martian thing that they have to do once a year.
Maybe it's like Vulcan Ponfar.
I was so thinking that. I was totally we need to talk Star Trek more. I did like one of the lines today I had circled about your I'm the other Superman. Well, your cosplay sucks.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of awesome. Yeah, and what was his outfit with the glasses and the?
Oof.
There is kind of the question, like, when is Mon-el going to get a costume? Like,
Yeah.
He had and it was almost like the Eradicator type sunglasses, and I was wondering if
He
they
had
were
like
going
a
that
Tom
direction.
Cruise Mission Impossible thing going with
Yeah,
his like
yeah.
glasses and his outfit. I was like, you're not Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and the other Superman. It's kind of interesting. Just saying. Yeah, it was. There were some really cute. Here, I found my quote. Sorry, it's from before. Professionally handsome desk person. That's what it was. Sorry, I just had to find that. Professionally
That
handsome.
fits Jimmy Olsen.
It kind of does. He is very handsome.
He's so
I'm-
pretty.
I'm not sure what he actually does at the.
Nothing. Well, as we talked about this last week. He's never there. And Kat was always like, I have so much stuff to do. I'm so busy. I have to go to meetings and I have paperwork everywhere and I need an assistant. He doesn't need an assistant. He's just like, it's all good. I got some TVs.
Maybe he just has a really good assistant that we don't see and who handles everything.
Okay, that should be Win, but Win doesn't work there anymore. But yeah, it is kind of funny. The jobs on TV shows are always like this though, because I mean you have to have a reason to get them out of the house. I had mentioned like Friends, where I know that's a really old reference now, but everyone would hang out and at the coffee shop and they'd be there forever. And I have to go to work. What time did you get up to go to the coffee shop? 4? Yeah, nobody actually works unless it is a plot point.
Well, I mean, honestly, does he even need his regular job? And I mean, if at the end of the episode they're saying you guys are a great team, like, couldn't he just be Guardian full time?
Yes, he could. Oh,
But I think he likes his desk a lot. He likes his title as Professional Handsome Man.
He has a nice office.
He does. I like his giant TVs. But I'm sad that they're always behind him. Like, I feel like if it were me, I would have to just turn my back and watch TV all day.
Superman has that in the Fortress of Solitude.
That's
he just
true.
has monitors that he can.
Yeah, but he's facing those.
Yeah.
He's not facing. We should mention the Facebook page. And Lance, make sure you guys head over to the Facebook page and check that out, and we will check it out with you, and we can chat.
And please feel free if there's any questions you have, even if it's not about the specific episode, put them on the Facebook page. We'll check before next week's episode, and we'll just make sure that we get everything answered.
Yeah. We're full of answers. We're totally full of answers. But I am really excited to see where this is going. I thought we started off pretty strong last week, and I'm like you. I wasn't quite as jazzed about this episode, but it feels like one of those sort of in between episodes, which had to move the plot along to Mars,
Yeah.
which is fine, and more planets and things like that. All right, guys. Well, we want to know what you guys thought of the episode, so you can tweet us with the hashtag SupergirlAS. You can tweet any of us or the Stream TV. Make sure to subscribe, and we will see you next week.